Coming up on Full Sail Live, 6 more NFL head coaches got their pink slips. Such a move by one organization is raising some eyebrows. What's the fallout from the Kaepernick workout that never happened but happened? We'll explain. Plus, 7 days after the Browns-Steelers melee, a shocking new development from Myles Garrett's appellant hearing on Tuesday. And a national controversy is brewing, highlighted by 3 Connecticut high school girls in the sport of track and field. All that and more on a new edition of Full Sail Live. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. Welcome to Full Sail Live. I'm Michael Vick. With the NFL's regular season now officially in the rear view, the dust has yet to even settle. In summation, 8 head coaches have been fired, 5 are African American. The latest firing of Arizona head coach Steve Wilks after just 1 season and subsequent hiring of another coach is drawing a lot of ire around the league. It's raising questions about equal opportunities for black coaches in the NFL. And for perspective as to why, longtime sportscaster Dale Hansen highlights a rather thought-provoking narrative.
Been a lot of criticism of the Arizona Cardinals hiring Cliff Kingsbury as their new coach, but Kingsbury fits all the criteria to be a head coach in the NFL. He's an offensive genius, he's young, and he's white. A lot of people don't understand how Kingsbury can have a losing record at Texas Tech, no NFL experience, and get one of the 32 NFL jobs. But getting fired at Tech doesn't eliminate him from moving up, at least it doesn't to me. But I am the product of white privilege in America, and I've never denied that I wasn't either. If they made a poster, my picture should be on it. Getting fired at one place and getting another chance isn't the problem. But young, talented coaches of color not getting the chance, that's a huge problem. Unless it is true what black parents have been telling their children for decades now. You have to be twice as good to go half as far.
In a league that's 70% African American, 3 of the NFL's 32 franchises currently have black head coaches. It's also worth noting that only 1 NFL general manager is African American. That's Chris Grier of the Miami Dolphins. Staying with NFL news, it's been 1,057 days since Colin Kaepernick last quarterbacked the team. This past Saturday was supposed to be a major step in changing that narrative. He was scheduled to work out at the Atlanta Falcons training facility at 3 p.m. After issues suddenly arose as to the preconditions of the workout, he called an audible at 2:30, notifying the NFL that he was moving the time and location. The problem with that is that the location was more than an hour away, leaving the 25 team representatives that showed up feeling frustrated and empty-handed. As for reaction, well, there's plenty.
No NFL team ever called Colin Kaepernick again. I don't blame you. Saturday was about the whole interview process and whether you were willing to capitulate to some of the things that the NFL will want to do. Representatives from 25 different teams showed up. By the way, a vast majority of those representatives were African Americans who clearly were supportive of Colin Kaepernick. And yet you don't show up. 2:30 in the afternoon, a half hour before your workout was scheduled, was when they were informed that you would not show up and that instead you would be 51 miles away.
In its simplest form, this was a job interview. The NFL is not going to capitulate to your every want or desire in this particular situation because they are the gatekeeper to what you want to do.
You also showed up with a Kunta Kinte t-shirt on. You understand the character from Roots, obviously a freed slave, etc. The point is, what are you saying about the owners when you do that? You know what you think about them. You've publicized what you think about them, but you also want a job with them. And you're calling them out that way. In America, anywhere, I might add, if an employer is talked about that way, go get a job. Why don't you go to CFL?
We have breaking news here in the Full Sail Live as just reported by ESPN's Josina Anderson and Adam Schefter. As part of his defense meeting with the appeals committee, Myles Garrett claims that Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph uttered a racial slur moments before he struck him on the head with the helmet. Rudolph's attorney, very quick to respond, vehemently denying that claim. As the news broke, ESPN Cleveland Browns reporter Jake Trotter tweeted that he had asked both Baker Mayfield and defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson about this. They said that it was the first that they had heard of it. As always, we have instant reaction on what has now become a very different topic.
Is it fair for me to say you are skeptical that it got used?
Oh, I'm very skeptical. I'm very skeptical because, like you said, you say that word knowing what that word means, coming from a white player to a black player, and you reacting the way you did. So it would give you, it's like, okay, that explains why he reacted like that. Because we've never seen Myles Garrett act like that. But but you tell no one. You sit on it for over a week.
We're told that the NFL has apparently been looking into this matter since the hearing took place 2 days ago, but has yet to find any evidence that Rudolph, in fact, made a racial slur. Changing subjects now to a very controversial debate that only seems to be growing. The subject of transgenders and sports is quickly bubbling to the national surface. The families of 3 Connecticut girls that run high school track have filed a federal discrimination complaint under Title IX. Their complaint is centered around the fact that the state allows transgender athletes to compete in the sport based on the gender they identify with. Selena Soleil and Delana Smith are 2 high school track stars that say having to compete against transgender athletes have cost them top finishes in races and possibly college scholarships. The complaint argues that under Title IX, there should be equal rights in sports for females and that, quote, allowing boys to compete in girls' sports reverses nearly 50 years of advances for women under this law, end quote.
I don't think any solution can be truly fair that allows a biological male to come in and take away athletic opportunities from young women.
The argument that gender identity lends an unfair advantage in sports is a reoccurring theme and a complex subject to navigate when issues of discrimination are brought into the conversation. A spokesperson for the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference, which governs high school sports, had no immediate comment on the subject. All right, when we come back, more reaction from the Myles Garrett Mason Rudolph fallout. Adam Schefter, who helped break the news, will join us with the very latest. And friend of the show and NBA Hall of Famer Charles Barkley finds himself in hot water over comments he made to a female political reporter. We'll explain after the break on Full Sail Live.